A criminal complaint was filed yesterday here in Latah County, charging the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, with 4 counts of first-degree murder, in addition to felony burglary.
It has been a year since 4 University of Idaho students were viciously stabbed to death in a rental home near campus. But what does the prosecution have in their case against accused killer Bryan Kohberger? We sit down with Bryan, senior national correspondent for News Nation, to talk about the most damning pieces of evidence in the case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Long.
What's up, guys? True Crime King back. How we doing? Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Whew, feels good to be back. Anyway, all right, we're gonna be taking a look at the 5 most damning pieces of evidence against this clown Kohberger. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have noticed the amount of people saying that Kohberger is innocent has been dwindling. At least that's what it seems to me like. At least I guess they just think they're just gonna, be able to switch and act like they never said any of those things, right? Anyway, here we go.
Crime, I'm Jesse Weber. We have covered this case extensively here on Sidebar, and it is one that has captured the attention of the entire world. It's kind of strange to think that it has been a full year since all this happened, but on November 13, 2022, Ethan Chapin, Zana Kernodle, Ayla Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan were all found stabbed to death inside of a large off-campus rental house at the University of Idaho.
Yeah, a year went by pretty quick, didn't it?
2 other roommates were unharmed. There was a massive police investigation as basically the entire Moscow Police Department started looking for who could have done this. And it really rocked the entire community. And after about 6 weeks after the murders, police arrested 28-year-old Washington State University doctoral student Bryan Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, where he was spending Christmas break. It's actually...
Remember, it was about 6 weeks after the murders, okay? This was after they found the sheath under Madison Mogan's body, okay? Then they found the DNA on the sheath, okay? They ran it through some genealogy websites. Got a hit. It was Kohberger's father, okay? So then they started following Kohberger and his father. They got some trash from his house. Boom. Connected it. It was to Kohberger, right? Then once they took Kohberger into jail, okay, they got his cheek swab. And boom. 100% without a doubt. 5.36 octillion percent chance that it's Bryan Kohberger's DNA. That means it is Bryan Kohberger's DNA, okay? So we only have 7 billion people on this planet, okay? We don't have 5 octillion people on this planet, right?
A criminology student at the time. Now, they extradited him back to Idaho, charged him with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. The grand jury looked over the evidence that prosecutors collected and indicted Bryan Kohberger. The state announced that it will be seeking the death penalty.
They're seeking the death penalty because they believe their evidence is so strong that they can get a conviction on the highest, burden of proof, the death penalty, okay? If they didn't think they had enough evidence, they wouldn't be going for the death penalty. They would be trying to offer him a plea deal. They're not doing that. Come on, guys.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Kohberger's legal team announced he was standing silent, and Judge John Judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf.
Yeah, that's what an innocent person does. They stay silent and don't say guilty or not guilty, right?
Kohberger also decided to waive his right to a speedy trial, which blew apart any chance of this trial starting in October as originally planned. The accused killer is behind bars in the small town of Moscow, Idaho, currently awaiting trial, but the question now is, how strong is the actual evidence against him? Well, to answer that, let me bring in Bryan, News Nation.
Okay, real quick, keep in mind, I have not seen this yet, so I don't know what they're going to say. They could be about to say the evidence is not good at all, right? I don't know, because I haven't watched it, so we'll see. I believe the evidence is very strong. You guys know what I think. If you don't, then go back and watch my videos, because I'm not going to say it again.
Senior national correspondent who has been covering this case from the very beginning. Bryan is actually in Idaho 1 year later. Bryan, it's great to see you. First off, what is it like being back there? And it's hard to imagine just 1 year has gone by. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's really weird to think about it. Sorry, we're actually driving now. My producer's driving. We're driving over to where there's going to be a vigil on campus later today. But yeah, it just feels kind of surreal. I think the town is still very much like coping with everything, especially since, the legal process is ongoing. The trial has been delayed. They thought maybe it would happen this year. It's now not happening. So it's kind of like everyone here is in this weird limbo. Like they want to try and move on somewhat, but it's really hard to do that when, Bryan Kohberger is in the jail here and there's still this long court process ahead.
Yeah, notice still over a year later, right? There hasn't been any talk of anybody else that could possibly have done this, right? Not one credible piece of evidence, not one credible person after a year, other than Bryan Kohberger. Doesn't that tell you guys something, right? There's no other suspects. Come on. Right? Where are you? Where are all you Kohberger innocent fans? Come on. Give me another suspect. You can't just sit there and keep saying, "Oh, he didn't do it." Oh, it couldn't have happened because it's impossible for it to have occurred in less than 10 minutes. You clowns! It did happen in less than 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange feeling. And I'll tell you the first, I didn't think that a year from when he was arrested, we were going to see a trial. I'm not surprised by that. This case is quite complex. The death penalty eligible case. I think there's a lot at stake here. And that's what I wanted to bring you on, because if anybody knows about the evidence in this case, it is you. You've been doing terrific reporting. So let's go through some of the evidence here and what to make of it. I'm going to start with the DNA. Arguably one of the biggest pieces of evidence that we know the prosecutors have against Kohberger. He's, of course, innocent until proven guilty, but the Latah County prosecutor...
Yeah, and let me reiterate that. Of course he's still innocent. He hasn't had his trial yet. But me and other people are allowed to have opinions, okay? And my opinion is, after seeing all the evidence, I believe he is guilty, okay? Some of you still don't understand that. You keep commenting, he's innocent until proven guilty. No shit, Sherlock. You know? No fucking shit. This is my opinion. I mean, come on. Jeez.
They need to have the goods if they were going to win the case. And you talk about the DNA. We know that authorities were able to make a familial match from the DNA on a knife sheath found at the crime scene to Kohberger's father. They did this by collecting trash from outside.
And look at those teeth. It looks like he had braces on and didn't brush while he had his braces on, and then they took them off and it left stains or something. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's weird because it's only in the middle of his teeth.
At the Kohberger home in Pennsylvania. And then after Kohberger was arrested, Authorities took a cheek swab from him, and then the court documents reveal that the DNA recovered from the sheath is almost an identical match to Kohberger. But Bryan, the defense has been saying not so fast, right? They're saying that there's been a lot of fighting between the prosecutors and the defense over what's called investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG.
Yeah, it's a new science. It's really interesting. The IgG.
Real quick, and keep in mind, this is the defense, right? They're going to try everything and under the sun to try and save Kohberger's life. That is their job, okay? So just because they're filing all these motions and doing all this, they're just doing their job, okay? That doesn't mean there's any smoking gun. That doesn't mean Kohberger's innocent, okay? That's just the defense. They have to do this, right? If they don't, then Kohberger can just file an appeal if he's convicted and say that his lawyers didn't do a good job, right? That's all that this is.
The investigative genetic genealogy. We were actually just in Idaho like about a week ago for hearing about it.
Hey there, everybody. I want to talk to you about something that I am super...
I want to skip. See, they do these ads in between now. So even if you have YouTube Premium, you can't get around them.
Set a deadline of December 1st to get all of this DNA evidence in, to look at it, to see what can be used. There were actually some arguments that were made at a motions hearing on August 18th about this.
Well, my understanding was that the state did provide all the information about the laboratory, let's say the laboratory DNA that was, that analysis was not related to genealogy DNA. Am I mistaken about that? What are you saying that it didn't provide to you?
Your Honor, in our third motion itself, we had a section called Standard Lab Discovery, and that has to do with...
And it's hard to hear. It's not my volume. It's just hard to hear them. Sounds like she's got a mask on or something.
DNA profiles found at the scene. They have provided full discovery for the sheet, the DNA found on the night sheet.
I gotta skip ahead.
The other...
If they don't have them, they weren't done. We can't produce them.
Here, hold on. I want to see what the prosecution rebuttal.
Analysis of DNA that was not provided to you, but that has no connection to Mr. Kohberger.
Correct.
Any response?
Your Honor, we didn't realize this was going to be an issue. We have given the defense everything that we received from the lab. They've asked for...
Okay, so yeah, this is another thing I keep getting comments on. The defense doesn't have everything that the prosecution has. You just heard it. The prosecution has given the defense everything that they have gotten. He just said it to the judge, okay? He can't lie to the judge, right?
For DNA workups on other people, to the extent that they don't have them, they weren't done. We can't produce something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, if they don't have it, it wasn't done, right? So that's what he's saying. They can't produce it if it doesn't exist. So that just puts a nail in the coffin for all you guys that say the defense doesn't have everything that the prosecution does. Quit it. You just heard it from the horse's mouth. Stop.
We provide everything. There's one outstanding lab report that relates to the forensic examination by the lab personnel of the crime scene itself. We received today. That's the only outstanding lab report. Everything else, along with all the notes, is what there is, and it's been provided to the defense.
One outstanding lab report that obviously isn't that important, right? Okay? That's it. Hello? And that was back when this was taken. So, they have it now. So no more comments about that crap.
They're hoping that there's something else there. It's not there.
You know,
That's exactly right. They're hoping. The defense is hoping. But there's nothing else.
looking at this and I'm trying to think how much of a slam dunk is the DNA evidence, because Bryan, it's my understanding, I've heard the defense may argue that this was a party house, that of course Bryan Kohberger was at the house. No wonder his DNA would be there, and it's possible there was other people's DNA, maybe at that crime scene. Am I?
Okay, real quick, I want to address this. So, first of all, Kohberger has already stated multiple times he's never been to that house, okay? He's never been to any parties at that house, okay? Why would he have been to parties at that house? Or he would have already told us that, right? We would have already known that, right? Or the police would have, right? Secondly, let's say that he comes back and says, "Yeah, I was partying at that house." Okay, so then why was your DNA on a knife sheath that was the sheath of the actual murder weapon? Okay, and that was underneath the dead, deceased body of Madison Mogen. But your DNA wasn't anywhere else in the house. It was only on that sheath. So you would think if he was at a party at this house, right, his DNA would be in many places over the house. In the bathroom, on the door handles, right? But it's not. It's only on the knife sheath. So does that make sense to anybody? His DNA is only on the knife sheath, on the button, but it's not anywhere else? Give me a break. Guilty, 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 in my opinion. But anyway, this is getting pretty long now. I'll do another part to this. Just wanted to get back in the flow today and make a return, get back into the swing of things. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like and subscribe button. Help the channel grow. And until next time, guys, True Crime King out.